Alright, once again, good morning, everybody. Shalom, shalom. Hope everybody had a good night's sleep. I have to say, I slept pretty good. Hope everybody really enjoyed Anthony and I starting our new show last night, Two Men in the Torah. Hope everybody enjoyed that, and look forward to getting into a lot of stuff. So, alright, so, good morning, Bruce. So, Psalm 22. My El, why have you forsaken me? And we know where that comes from. Why are you so far from helping me and from the words of my groaning? O my El, I cry in the daytime, but you do not hear. And in the night season, and am not silent. But you are holy, enthroned in the praises of Yisrael. Our fathers trusted in you. They trusted and you delivered them. They cried to you and were delivered. They trusted in you and were not ashamed. But I am a worm and no man, a reproach of men and despised by the people. All those who see me ridicule me. They shoot out the lip, they shake the head, saying, he trusted in Yehovah, let him rescue him. Let him deliver him, since he delights in him. But you are he who took me out of the womb. You made me trust while on my mother's breast. I was cast upon you from birth. From my mother's womb you have been my El. Be not far from me, for trouble is near, for there is none to help. Many bulls have surrounded me, strong bulls of Bashan have encircled me. They gape at me with their mouths like a raging and roaring lion. I am poured out like water, and all my bones are out of joint. My heart is like wax. It has melted within me, my strength is dried up like a potsherd, and my tongue clings to my jaws. You have brought me to the dust of death, for dogs have surrounded me. The congregation of the wicked has enclosed me. They pierced my hands and my feet. I can count all my bones. They look and stare at me. They divide my garments among them, and for my clothing they cast lots. But you, O Yehovah, do not be far from me. O my strength, hasten to help me. Deliver me from the sword, my precious life from the power of the dog. Save me from the lion's mouth, and from the horns of the wild oxen. You have answered me. I will declare your name to my brethren. In the midst of the assembly I will praise you. You who fear Yehovah, praise him. All you descendants of Yaakov, glorify him. And fear him, all you offspring of Yisrael. For he has not despised nor abhorred the affliction of the afflicted. Nor has he hidden his face from him, but when he cried to him, he heard. My praise shall be of you in the great assembly. I will pay my vows before those who fear him. The poor shall eat and be satisfied. Those who seek him will praise Yehovah. Let your heart live forever. All the ends of the world shall remember and turn to Yehovah, and all the families of the nations shall worship before you. For the kingdom is Yehovah's, and he rules over the nations. All the prosperous of the earth shall eat and worship. All those who go down to the dust shall bow before him, even he who cannot keep himself alive. A posterity shall serve him. It will be recounted of Adonai to the next generation. They will come and declare his righteousness on a people who will be born, that he has done this. You know, when you look at that whole chapter, we know that it is all talking about the sacrifice of Messiah and his crucifixion. And I can't even imagine what it must have been like to go through what Messiah went through. You know, as Anthony and I briefly talked about, you know, when Messiah was in the Garden Gethsemane, he prayed to he prayed to the Father, and he asked the Father that if it be possible that this cup pass from him. And at all this time, during that time, you know, he's sweating drops of blood. I can't even imagine what kind of duress, what kind of stress your body would have to be under with the anticipation of what was coming for you to sweat drops of blood. I have no words for it, because I don't even understand what that would entail. And then, as he says, my joints are dislocated, and they pierced me, and I can count my bones, because Scripture teaches us that when he was whipped, that he was whipped so bad his flesh was peeled in areas where you could actually see his bones. Anybody who ever saw The Passion, we know that Mel Gibson, when he makes movies, he does everything to bring the realism as possible, and he did with that, because that whipping that they portrayed to give us an idea of what our Messiah went through. Yeah, and he didn't even do everything, because as Scripture says, his beard was ripped off of his face. They ripped. And any of you men who've ever had a beard, you grab a hold and you imagine a chunk. I mean, skin and everything's coming with it. What Yeshua went through, the torture, that 24-hour period, or however many hours from the time they arrested him in the Garden of Gethsemane to the time he said it is finished and died on the cross. To any one of us, for sure, if we were even able to survive it, would have felt like an eternity. But we couldn't even have survived half of what he went through. The beating alone would have probably killed us. Not to mention carrying his cross and then being nailed to it and hanging from it on top of it. You know, and I think about this, you think about this chapter, and you think about what he went through. You think about the terrifying, what it must have been like, knowing all along that this is what he needed to do to restore Israel unto himself. He knew that this is the punishment he had to take to save us, so that we weren't punished with death. And we complain about making sacrifices. We complain. I mean, I see it so common through the body of, well, I shouldn't have to do this, or I shouldn't have to do this. I see people complaining about, you know, Shabbat and what they can and can't do, and complaining about the commandments, and oh, well, you know, I shouldn't this or shouldn't have to do that. And it's like, you just don't get it. Why don't you go through what he went through, and then tell me you wouldn't jump all over just being able to walk in obedience to his word? Because to suffer as Messiah suffered, we don't even know. None of us. I don't care what we have gone through in our life. I don't care what it is. We have never suffered as our Messiah has suffered. Not ever. This chapter, Psalm 22, should bring things into perspective for us. It should open up our eyes, spiritual eyes. It should open up our spiritual thoughts and our heart, and make us realize the immensity of the level of mercy, of love, of compassion, of everything, of who He is, what we are to Him, what we mean to Him in every way. So, Mishpachah, I encourage you as you go throughout the day today, think upon how blessed you really are. That you don't have to go through what He went through so you could enter into heaven. That you don't have to even go through even one iota of terror and torment that He went through so that you could be with Him. We truly are blessed to understand what that means. We truly are blessed to understand who Yehovah Yeshua is, what He did for us to save us from sin, from filth and perversion and all the things that we have done throughout our lives. Our every thought that is worthy of death, our every action that is worthy of death, everything that we have done that has been worthy of death over and over and over again. But by the very act that our Messiah did, it has given us chance after chance after chance to get it right, to have a relationship with Him, so that we can be that spotless bride that He is looking for when He returns. So, Mishpachah, go throughout this day with great joy in your heart, knowing that you are saved because of your King and your bridegroom, and that you are where you are because of what He did and what He took for you. Amen. May you be blessed. May your heart be filled with joy and peace throughout this day, and may Yah show you what needs to change so that you can grow closer to Him. Shalom, shalom.